Hey everyone, today I'll be teaching you how to make Pizza Hut's pan pizza and breadsticks. This was absolutely delicious, so let's get started with the video. In a large bowl, add 2 1/4 cups of water, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast. Stir everything together and wait for the yeast to bloom. This should take about 5 minutes. Once your yeast has bloomed, add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Then add 1 tablespoon of salt and 5 cups of bread flour. Mix all your ingredients together until just combined. When you're finished, add some flour to a clean surface. Then pour your dough out and add more flour. Now begin to knead your dough. If your dough is sticky while you're kneading it, add more flour if necessary. Knead your dough until you can stretch some of the dough into a thin sheet without it tearing. When you're finished kneading your dough, separate it into 4 even dough balls. I did this by splitting my dough in half and then splitting the 2 dough balls in half as well. Now get a container and add some olive oil on the inside. Use the dough ball to coat your container in the olive oil on all sides. While you're coating the inside of your container in olive oil, make sure you also coat the dough ball in olive oil as well. Place your lid on the container and then set it to the side. Repeat this process with the rest of your dough. When you finish placing all your doughs in containers, let them rise for about 2 hours at room temperature, or you can place them in the fridge to let them rise for 1 to 7 days. Letting your dough age for a few days gives it a better flavor, somewhat similar to sourdough. I believe I let my dough age for about 4 to 5 days before using it. Now we're going to make our tomato sauce. In a small saucepan, add 15 ounces of crushed tomatoes, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 1/2 teaspoon of dried oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of dried basil. Mix everything together until well combined. Heat your sauce up until it is warm and then take it off the heat. Set your sauce to the side or place it into a container to use later. Now we're going to prepare our toppings. First, we're going to shred our cheese. The cheese you're going to want to use for this pizza is whole milk, low moisture mozzarella cheese. When you're finished shredding your cheese, put it in a Ziploc bag and place it in the fridge. Now slice or dice the vegetables you want on your pizza. I cut up a bell pepper and an onion. When you're finished cutting up your vegetables, set them to the side. Next, we're going to prepare our meat toppings. I decided to add Italian sausage on mine. First, I cut the skin off the Italian sausage and then I just placed it into a pan with melted butter and cooked it. After the Italian sausage was finished cooking, I chopped it up some more and then set it to the side with the rest of my toppings. Now that we've finished preparing our toppings, we can go ahead and make our pizza. In an iron skillet, add some olive oil. Make sure the inside of your iron skillet is coated in the olive oil. When you're finished, set your iron skillet to the side and take out your dough. Take the dough out of its container and then knead it a bit. After that, shape it. Shape and stretch your dough as best as you can so it can fit inside the iron skillet. Place your dough in the pan and then start coaxing it into the corners using your fingers and your fist. When you're finished, place a towel or plastic wrap over your pan and then let your dough rise in room temperature for about an hour or until it has doubled in size. When your dough has finished rising, add your sauce. Then add some Parmesan cheese. After that, add your mozzarella cheese. And finally, add your toppings. When you're finished, place your pizza into the oven at 500 degrees for about 11 to 15 minutes, or until your cheese and your crust is golden brown. Now that we've finished making our pizza, let's move on to our breadsticks. In a square pan, add some olive oil. Make sure to coat all the sides of your pan in the olive oil. Now take your dough out of its container and knead it, shape it, and stretch it. Place your dough into the pan and coax it into the corners so it fits perfectly. When you're finished, place a towel or plastic wrap over your pan and then let your dough rise for about an hour in room temperature. Once your dough is risen, cut it into 5 equal breadsticks. Then bake it in the oven at 500 degrees for 20 minutes. While your breadsticks are baking, we're going to make our breadstick topping. In a small bowl, combine 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of garlic salt, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 2 teaspoons of oregano, and 2 teaspoons of basil. When you're finished, set it to the side. When your breadsticks are finished baking in the oven, brush them with melted butter. Then sprinkle your breadstick topping on your breadsticks. And that's it, you are all finished with your pizza and your breadsticks. This is totally optional, but I added some oregano and Parmesan cheese over my pizza. You can also add red pepper flakes. And this is the finished product. Everything came out amazing. I was super proud of this. The breadsticks tasted just like the ones from Pizza Hut, and my pizza was absolutely delicious. It came out looking beautiful, and it tasted amazing. I'll link all the recipes I used for this video down in the description below. The only reason I wanted to make this was because I kept getting the personal pan pizza and breadsticks from Pizza Hut for a while, and one day I was just like, let me just go ahead and make this for myself. It takes a lot of patience to make pizza, but I swear this is totally worth it. It was fun to make and it was really good. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make the viral Little Caesars Crazy Puffs. So let's get started with the video. First, get some pizza dough. I got my pizza dough from Publix. Then grease your hands with olive oil. Next, take a piece of the pizza dough and then roll it up into a ball. set the ball of dough to the side and then repeat this process until you've made your desired amount. Once you finish making your balls of dough, set them to the side. Next, we're going to make some garlic butter. In a bowl, melt 4 tablespoons of butter in the microwave. Then add 1 to 2 teaspoons of minced garlic, 1 teaspoon of parsley, a half a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and 2 tablespoons of grated Parmesan cheese. Then mix everything together until well combined. Next, use the garlic butter to grease a muffin pan. Next, place each dough ball in the pan. Once you've added the dough balls, cover the pan in plastic wrap. Then let the dough rise in a warm area for 30 minutes to an hour or until it has doubled in size. Once the dough has doubled in size, remove the plastic wrap. Then grease a shot glass with olive oil. Next, use the shot glass to punch down the center of the dough. Now press up and around the edges of the dough to create a cup shape. Once you have finished shaping all of the dough, you can add the filling. First, add some shredded mozzarella cheese, then add around 1 to 2 teaspoons of marinara sauce, a slice of pepperoni, and more shredded mozzarella cheese. Repeat this process for each cup. When you're finished, place the crazy puffs in the oven at 400 degrees for 12 to 15 minutes. Once the crazy puffs have finished baking in the oven, brush the top of the puffs with the garlic butter we made before. Next, sprinkle some parsley and oregano on top and you are all finished. Now all you have to do is plate it up. And this is the finished result. These crazy puffs went viral, so I just had to make them, and they turned out great. They're delicious and super easy to make. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make the viral TikTok French bread pizza, so let's get started with the video. Begin by shredding some mozzarella cheese. When you're finished, set your mozzarella cheese to the side. Next, we're going to make some garlic butter. In a bowl, melt 4 tablespoons of butter. Then add 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, 1 teaspoon of parsley, a half a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. Mix everything together until well combined and then set your garlic butter to the side. Next, cut a loaf of French bread in half. By the way, this step is totally optional. You can just leave the French bread whole, but I'm cutting it in half because I'm the only one eating this. Then cut the French bread in half lengthwise. After cutting the French bread, brush the inside with the garlic butter we prepared before. Then evenly spread some marinara sauce onto the bread. Next, sprinkle some Parmesan cheese on top. Then add a good amount of shredded mozzarella cheese. After adding the mozzarella cheese, add your favorite toppings. I decided just to add some pepperonis to my French bread pizza. Once you have finished adding your toppings, place your French bread pizzas on a baking sheet lined with tinfoil. Then place your French bread pizzas in the oven at 400 degrees for 10 minutes. Once they have finished cooking, cut them into slices and enjoy. And this is the finished result. These pizzas were so good and they were super easy to make. I would definitely make this again for a quick lunch or dinner. Oh, and they taste even better if you sprinkle some red pepper flakes on top. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make the super popular Mexican pizza from Taco Bell, so let's get started with the video. Begin by prepping your ingredients. Dice 1 onion, one red bell pepper, one green bell pepper, one tomato, and finally chop up some cilantro, and some green onions. Next we're going to make some pico de gallo. In a bowl, add your diced tomatoes, some of your diced onions, 2 tablespoons of your chopped cilantro, a half a teaspoon of salt, and the juice of 2 limes. Mix everything together until well combined, and then set your pico de gallo to the side. In a large pan over medium heat, add olive oil. Then add a 1/4 cup of your diced bell peppers and a 1/4 cup of your diced onions. Saute your bell peppers and onions for about 3 minutes. Then add about 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. Saute the garlic with the onions and peppers for about 1 to 2 minutes. Then add 1 pound of the ground meat of your choice. I'm using turkey meat. Next, season your ground meat. I seasoned mine with seasoned salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. Continue to cook your turkey meat until it is completely browned. Once you finish cooking your ground meat, prepare a packet of taco seasoning mix, which is super easy to do. All you have to do is add the seasoning mix to 2/3 cup of water and mix everything together. Add the taco seasoning to your ground meat and mix everything together. Bring your mixture to a simmer and let it cook for about 4 to 5 minutes. During this time, make sure to stir your mixture occasionally. Once you finish cooking your ground meat, set it to the side. Next, in another large pan over medium heat, add some vegetable oil. Once the oil is hot, place a tortilla in the pan. Then fry your tortilla on each side until it's crispy and golden brown. Make sure to push down the air bubbles so that the tortilla stays flat. When you finish frying your tortilla, place it on a wire rack. The Mexican pizza requires 2 tortillas, so make sure to fry 2 for 1 pizza. Now that we've finished preparing everything, we can now assemble our Mexican pizza. First, spread a layer of refried beans on your tortilla. I already heated up my refried beans off camera. You can either heat up your refried beans in the microwave or on the stove. I use the stove to heat up mine. Then add a layer of your ground meat. Next, place another tortilla on top. Then, spread some enchilada sauce on top as well. Then add Mexican blend cheese on top. Once you've added the cheese, add whatever toppings that you like. I'm adding some pico de gallo, olives, and green onions. After adding your toppings, place your pizza in the oven on broil for about 3 minutes or until the cheese has completely melted. Once you finish cooking your pizza, you can go ahead and enjoy. And this is the finished result. This Mexican pizza was so good, way better than the one from Taco Bell. However, I totally understand why it was so popular when it was at Taco Bell. This recipe is absolutely delicious and really easy to make. 10 out of 10 would totally recommend. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make the viral TikTok Trader Joe's pizza, so let's get started with the video. Begin by taking a Trader Joe's flatbread pizza crust and placing it on a tinfoil lined baking sheet. Then coat the flatbread in a bit of olive oil. Next, add some garlic spread. Then evenly spread it with a spatula. Next, add some tomato pesto and spread it out evenly. Then add some hot chili pepper paste. Now we're going to add some marinated fresh mozzarella balls and burrata. Tear the burrata into pieces and place it on the flatbread. Then add the marinated mozzarella balls. I cut the mozzarella in half and then placed it on the flatbread. Next, add some prosciutto, and finally add some pepperoni. When you're finished, place it in the oven at 425 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes. While the pizza is cooking in the oven, prepare the arugula. Add some of the marinated mixture from the marinated mozzarella balls to the arugula. Toss the arugula in that mixture until it is well coated. Once the pizza is finished cooking, let it cool for about 5 minutes and then add the arugula on top. After adding the arugula, all that's left to do is to drizzle some balsamic glaze on top and you are all finished. By the way, I just want to let you know that I got most of the ingredients for the pizza from Trader Joe's. The only thing I didn't get from Trader Joe's was the arugula. And this is the finished result. This pizza is absolutely delicious and really easy to make. I totally understand why this pizza went viral because it is so good. I highly recommend. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! Hey everyone, today I'll be teaching you how to make this delicious lobster pizza. It is so good. The crust is crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside. It's cheesy and it's packed with flavor. Alright, so let's get started with the video. Pour 2.5 cups of warm water into a bowl. Then add a tablespoon of sugar and 1 teaspoon of dry active yeast. Mix that all together and then wait about 10 minutes for it to bloom. The reason you wait for your yeast to bloom is so that you make sure that it's still alive, it's not dead. Now add 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, and 5 tablespoons of flour. I ended up using all-purpose flour because I couldn't find any bread flour, but I would recommend using bread flour. Alright, so just attach the bowl to a stand mixer. To make pizza dough, you do not need a stand mixer, just to point that out. You can always mix it in a regular bowl. After a while, the dough became liquidy, and I'm pretty sure it's because I turned up the speed on the stand mixer. I also should have added more flour if it was becoming wet and slowed down the speed. It is a wet dough, but this is too wet, so I was supposed to add more flour until it was manageable and it turned into dough. I'm telling you this so you don't do this extra step that I did, where I floured a bowl, put the dough inside the bowl, and just added more flour in until it was manageable, which I could have done in the stand mixer. But again, I didn't realize. So, this is me adding more flour, mixing it all together, which I could have done in the stand mixer. When it was manageable enough and I could pick it up without it sticking on my hand as much, I started kneading the dough. I think I kneaded the dough for about 10 to 20 minutes. The way you know the dough is done is if you stretch the dough and you can stretch it without it tearing. So when I finally accomplished that, I was finally done with the dough. So I separated the dough into 4 pieces, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure you could separate into more pieces, unless you really like a thick dough. Anyway, I oiled up the container and then put the dough ball into the container and used the dough as kind of like a way to oil up the sides of the container. By the way, the container I used, way too small. The other containers I used, though, those were good. The oil in the container makes it easier for you to take out the dough. It keeps the dough from drying out, and it helps brown the crust. So you want to get a container twice the size of the dough ball because it is going to rise and get bigger. After you put all your doughs into a container, put it in the fridge and let it rise for up to 3 days to a week. You could also age it for 24 hours and it would be ready, but I prefer aging it for a week. Aging the dough for a week makes the crust taste better. It becomes crispy and the flavor is more delicious. Okay, so it's been a week. Now we're ready to make our lobster pizza. Right here we have the lobster. I already took the lobster meat out of the shell. Now just roughly cut up the lobster meat. It doesn't have to look perfect, trust me. In a small pan, melt some butter. Then add your lobster meat. Now add your seasonings. The seasonings I added were pepper, Old Bay, Creole seasoning, and some paprika for color. When your lobster is tight and not mushy, that's when it's done. When you're finished cooking, set your lobster to the side to cool. Once your lobster is cooled, place it on a cutting board. Now chop up your lobster into little bite-sized pieces. When you're finished, set your lobster to the side. Now we're gonna chop some basil. I don't know if you guys know, but I didn't know, so I'm gonna tell you guys so you know? This is how you chop basil. Layer the basil leaves on top of each other. Then roll up the basil and start cutting it. When you're finished, set the basil to the side. Next, shred some low moisture whole milk mozzarella cheese. Specifically, low moisture whole milk mozzarella cheese. It's the best cheese for pizza. After you finish with that, cut up some pieces of fresh mozzarella cheese. When you're finished, place your mozzarella cheese into the fridge, and don't take it out until you need it. Cold mozzarella cheese is best for pizza. Alright, now take out an iron skillet. Add some olive oil, about 1/2 teaspoon or 1/4 teaspoon of cornmeal, and some Italian seasoning or oregano. Then completely cover and coat the inside of the iron skillet. When you're finished, take out your dough. Proceed to stretch out your dough until it's big enough to fit inside the iron skillet. Just pick it up and keep turning it. Let gravity do all of the work. Then place it inside the iron skillet. Now proof the dough for about 30 minutes. While the dough is proofing, we're going to make our white sauce. Place 4 tablespoons of butter inside a pan. Melt the butter and then add 1 teaspoon of garlic. Sauté the garlic for about 30 seconds. Add 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. Then add 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and 1/4 teaspoon of liquid seafood oil. After that, add 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese and 1/3 cup of Italian blend mixed cheese. Once you've mixed everything together and the sauce has become thick and everything is well combined, you are finished. Once the dough is done proofing, you're going to want to put it on the stove at medium heat. Begin to place your sauce onto the pizza. Spread the sauce all around the pizza. Now add your mozzarella, starting at the edge and then filling in as you go along. After that, add your fresh mozzarella, just a few pieces around the pizza. Then add your chopped lobster. Let the pizza cook on the stove for about 8 minutes. Then place it inside a 475-degree oven. Then cook it until it browns on top and the cheese is melted. Until it has that real pizza look. That's the best way I can describe it, like when it looks like a pizza. For me, I think it was about 7 to 10 minutes until it was fully cooked. After it's done cooking, take it out of the iron skillet and place it on a cooling rack. Now add some fresh diced tomatoes, the basil we sliced up earlier, and some oregano. And you are all finished! And let me just tell you guys, this pizza is so good. I had to make two because my parents ate the first one and then my mom asked me to make another one. But it is really good. I even think it's better than the Lobster Pizza at Red Lobster's. It's just that good. The crust is crispy on the outside but soft on the inside. The white sauce makes the whole thing taste delicious. Fresh tomatoes and basil enhances the flavor. I could go on and on. But I think this video is long enough. So thank you so much for watching the video. Everything I used will be in the description below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make the viral TikTok Trader Joe's Birria Pizza. So let's get started with the video. Begin by cooking the Trader Joe's beef birria. To cook the birria, you have to let it thaw overnight. So make sure to do that before you begin cooking. Once the birria is thawed, you can begin cooking it. There are two ways you can cook it. You could either microwave it or cook it on the stove. I prefer to cook it on the stove. After removing the outer packaging and the film, pour the birria into a medium-sized pot or pan. Okay, look, I know it looks questionable at first, but I swear after you heat it up and cook it, it looks and tastes delicious. Next, bring it to a boil over medium heat. Let the beef cook for a few minutes and then, once it's hot and ready, remove it from the pan. After removing the beef from the pan, reduce the heat to low. Next, place the beef on a cutting board and chop it into pieces. When you're finished, place the beef back into the pan. Once you've added the beef, mix it in with the broth and then take the birria off the heat and set it to the side. Next, take a Trader Joe's flatbread pizza crust and place it on a tinfoil lined baking sheet. Then coat the flatbread in a bit of olive oil. When you're finished, brush the broth from the birria onto the flatbread. Brush a good amount of the broth, but not so much that it becomes soggy. When you're finished, add shredded mozzarella cheese. Next, add the beef on top. Then add a bit more mozzarella cheese. And some diced red onions. When you're done, place the pizza into the oven at 425 degrees for 10 minutes. Once the pizza is finished cooking, add cilantro and sliced jalapenos on top. And that's it, you are all finished making your birria pizza. All you have to do now is slice it up and enjoy. This pizza was absolutely delicious, especially if you put jalapenos on it. The jalapenos kick it up a notch. I totally recommend giving this a try. It's easy to make and it tastes great. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make these tasty, cheesy, garlic Parmesan pizza rolls, so let's get started with the video. We're going to begin by making the tomato sauce. In a saucepan over medium heat, add 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, 2 tablespoons of sugar, a half a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1.5 teaspoons of dried oregano, and a half a teaspoon of dried basil. Mix everything together until well combined, and then heat your sauce up until it becomes warm. After you've heated up your sauce, take it off the heat and set it to the side. Next, shred some mozzarella cheese. Once you have finished preparing your ingredients, you can now assemble your pizza rolls. First, place a wonton wrapper on a cutting board. Then add 1 slice of pepperoni, some mozzarella cheese, about a teaspoon of tomato sauce, and a bit more mozzarella cheese. Next, brush the edges of the wonton wrapper with water. Fold the diagonal end of the wonton wrapper over the filling, then fold the opposite end over that to form this tube shape. And after you've done that, brush the ends with a bit more water. Next, fold the last 2 ends of the wonton wrapper to the center of the pizza roll. Make sure your pizza roll is sealed shut so none of the filling spills out when you fry them. Once you finish folding your pizza roll, it should be a perfect square. Repeat this process until you've made all the pizza rolls that you want, or until you run out of ingredients, whichever comes first. Once you have finished making all of your pizza rolls, you can now begin frying them. Fill a pot or deep fryer with vegetable oil and then heat it up to around 350 degrees. Once the oil is hot, fry your pizza rolls for around 2 to 3 minutes or until they have puffed up and are lightly golden brown. Make sure to cook your pizza rolls in batches so you don't overcrowd the pot or deep fryer. Once your pizza rolls have finished cooking, take them out and place them on a wire rack. Now that you have finished making your pizza rolls, we're going to move on and make the garlic butter. In a bowl, melt 4 tablespoons of butter. Then add 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, 1 teaspoon of parsley, and 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Then mix everything together until well combined. Now that you've finished making the garlic butter, we can move on to the next step. Place the pizza rolls in a bowl and then add the garlic butter and some grated Parmesan cheese. Add as much or as little as you want. Then toss them until they are completely coated. When you're finished, all you have to do is plate it up and enjoy. And this is the finished result. These were so freaking good. They were way better than the store-bought pizza rolls. And dipping them in the leftover sauce makes it even better. These pizza rolls were simple and easy to make, so I totally recommend giving them a try. And just look at this cheese pull. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make the viral TikTok Caesaroni sandwich, so let's get started with the video. We're going to begin by preparing our ingredients. First, clean one romaine lettuce heart with water and then chop it up. When you're finished, thoroughly clean the lettuce with water again and then set it to the side. Next, pour croutons into a Ziploc bag and then crush the croutons. When you're finished, set the crushed croutons to the side. Next, place an artisan roll on a baking sheet lined with tinfoil. Then spread pizza sauce on each half of the artisan roll. Next, add shredded Parmesan cheese to each half. Then add shredded mozzarella cheese. Now add slices of pepperoni to the bottom half of the roll. Then sprinkle Parmesan cheese on top of the pepperoni. When you're finished, place the sandwich into the oven at 400 degrees for 10 minutes or until the cheese has melted. While the sandwich is in the oven, we're going to make the Caesar salad. In a large bowl, add the shredded lettuce you prepared before. Then add some Caesar dressing, the crushed croutons we prepared before, and a half a cup of shredded Parmesan cheese. Then mix everything together until well combined. When you're finished, set your Caesar salad to the side. Once the sandwich has finished baking in the oven, take it out. Then add the Caesar salad on the bottom half of the sandwich. Now all you have to do is place the other half on top and you are all finished. And this is the finished result. This recipe is super quick and easy to make, and the sandwich is delicious. I definitely recommend giving it a try. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! Hey everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to make these garlic butter pizza croissants, so let's get started with the video. Begin by cutting half a block of mozzarella cheese into thin slices. When you're finished, set your mozzarella slices to the side. Next, open a pack of croissant rolls. Then separate the croissant rolls. Next, take a croissant roll and place a slice of mozzarella cheese and 2 pepperonis on the wider end. Then roll it up. Repeat this process with the rest of your croissant rolls. When you're finished, place your pizza croissants on a baking sheet lined with tinfoil. Now we're going to make some garlic butter. In a small bowl, melt 2 tablespoons of butter. Then add 1/8 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and 1/2 teaspoon of parsley. Then mix everything together until well combined. Once you have finished making the garlic butter, brush it on the pizza croissants. Next, place them in the oven at 375 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes. Once the pizza croissants have finished baking in the oven, you can go ahead and enjoy. And this is the finished result. These garlic butter pizza croissants are so good. They're super easy to make and they make a really good snack or appetizer. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everything I used in this video will be down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!